Hey everyone, today we're going to be doing a bit of a shorter video. This is a follow-up to my F1 Pro review. Check that out if you haven't seen it. And what we're going to be doing is actually a performance-based battery test. I've never done one like this. I normally set the TDP to 30 and just see how long it goes, but in this test we're going to target a specific FPS. For the game we're going to use to test, we're going to use Cyberpunk, and I have it at the lowest possible settings with FSR set to quality and frame generation turned on. And for the resolution, we have it set at 1080p and I have a locked FPS of 60. And we'll test out how much power is required to reach that benchmark. For the Ally, I have the FPS limiter set to 60. I actually had to change it to 18 watts as the maximum because the FPS limiter does not work very well on the Ally X. And over on the onexplayer side, what I did here is they do have a dynamic TDP that will follow the FPS, so this slider does not really matter. We're actually going to go into our performance settings here, and there's a couple of options where you can set it to lock at 60, just like the ROG Ally, and you can click to have it follow FPS. The difference here is this actually was working perfectly. It was locked at 60. And now on to the battery test. So for this, you'll see my hands kind of moving in and out here and there. The Ally X was pulling some shenanigans where it was dimming the screen. One time it even turned it off. And this was despite me changing things in Windows so that it shouldn't be able to do that. So just keep that in mind. If you see me moving my hands around, I'm just fixing that. Something interesting for the Ally X, when I use the auto TDP to reach 60 FPS, it doesn't really work very well. It was jumping between 63, 64 FPS. So I ended up actually changing it to 18 watts like I mentioned before, and that seemed to keep it around the 60 to 62 range. And that extra 6 watts would have skewed the results pretty bad, so I wanted to make sure that this was as fair as possible. And now the onexfly is finally dying at 1 hour and 43 minutes. Interestingly enough, the onexfly's total system power was actually increasing in the last 20%. I had the battery saver turned off, so I'm thinking maybe there's some kind of bug in there that relates to that. It was drawing like an extra 5 watts of power. And now we have a low battery notification on the Ally, and it lasted 2 hours and 30 minutes. So the final conclusion here is that the Ally X lasted for 30% longer than the onexfly. However, the battery is 60% larger than the onexfly. So there's certainly some efficiency to be had on this new chip because of that extra power, and this is a good sign for anyone that's looking to pick up a Z2 Extreme device, because that device is likely going to be based on the AI370 and that efficiency is going to transfer over as well. Probably the biggest thing hindering the onexfly here is that the overhead power is larger than that of the Ally X. The Ally X was getting between 9 to 10 watts of extra power. So that's for your screen, your sound, your Wi-Fi, all of those extra things. So if your TDP was 15, your actual output of wattage is 25 because of that overhead. On the onexfly, the overhead is actually closer to 12 to 15 watts. I know it's not a lot, but that little bit does make a difference. So what do you think of these types of battery tests where it's based on a performance target rather than just setting to a specific TDP? Do you find it valuable, or do you prefer the other way of doing the battery tests? Let me know in the comments and let's talk about it further there. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and thank you for watching.